Hey, let's talk about the mayor's race, shall we? It is a lot going on in that race. Let's talk about that. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee jumped in. This is after John Whitmire was already in, and Amanda Edwards was in, and Gilbert Garcia's in, and Manuel Gallegos. Handicap this for me.
Well, Sheila Jackson Lee's entry was a bucket of cold water over every candidate not named Whitmire. Their hope had been that they would be able to compete among themselves and get the second spot in the runoff and then go head-to-head with Senator Whitmire in December. With Sheila Jackson Lee entering the race, she's a heavy favorite to be in the first round along with Whitmire and both go to the runoff.
What is your sense of what's going on in that race? You think that that's about the same scenario? Or?
Well, yeah, I think that that complicated a lot of the strategies that several candidates had. And obviously, we're going to see how, the different demographics in the city are going to be supporting one way or the other. And obviously, it's going to be a battle between what we would say, progressive Democrats versus more moderate Democrats. And also, we're going to have middle of the road Republicans. So it's going to be an interesting mix, but I assume that we're going to have a very interesting runoff eventually.
And this quote nonpartisan race is obviously going to see a lot of dollars coming in. Probably that's going to be really from both sides of the coin, you think?
No, definitely. This is for the Houston mayor position. It's a strong mayor position. The mayor runs everything in Houston. They'll be there for 4 years, potentially 8 years. So you're going to see a lot of money spent, desire with people wanting influence and access to the future mayor.
Let's talk about the state of the country. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said that the United States may be in danger of default if its bills are not paid. And this is because Congress really hasn't worked to raise the debt limit. And the debt limit, as I understand, is all about raising that debt limit to pay the bills that the country has already incurred. Republicans have said, yeah, well, we're not going to do that until you cut things out of the budget. And my understanding is that one doesn't have anything to do with the other. However, it's a problem because there's an impasse and the Americans are going to be in the path of difficulty of that. Who's going to get the blame for this if it doesn't go right?
Well, I think both. I think the White House and Congress are going to get the blame because if we don't pass a debt ceiling, that has been done before. During the Trump administration, Democrats voted 3 times to increase the debt limit. And now Republicans are saying, well, we're not going to do it until you do X, Y, or Z. But the problem here is that it would only not have consequences for us in terms of what would happen to the U.S. economy. It would have devastating consequences for the global economy. We would enter into economic mayhem if this does not happen. People are saying that it's not going to happen, but it will certainly happen. Markets are going to react in such a way that it's going to be very detrimental to every single person in this world.
So whether or not they do it or not, it gets close enough to the time time limit, then the markets are going to react.
Right. The markets are already reacting to it because we're a month away and the Republicans and Democrats are playing a dangerous game of chicken. And they're really saying who's going to blink first and effectively give in. Will Republicans give in on their demands for the spending cuts, or will Biden give in and allow the spending cuts? Right now, the damage is already done, but the damage can get worse, especially if we get to the point where we've hit the ceiling and the U.S. effectively defaults.
It's a messaging thing, too, is it not? I mean, because the presidents have always kind of said, hey, give me a clean debt ceiling raise without all of this stuff, and now it's different. Of course, Republicans have been kind of different as a party over the last number of years anyways, but this is probably par for the course.
Right, and that's Biden's position, is one has nothing to do with the other, but Republicans, you have Kevin McCarthy trying to keep together a very narrow majority, and this is something they can agree on, trying to extort spending cuts in exchange for their support for increasing the debt ceiling.
Let's talk about the run for president. President Biden running for re-election, and so is former President Trump. Are either one of you surprised that Mr. Trump is still the favorite in GOP, even with his alleged involvement in January 6th, the files being found at Mar-a-Lago, the attempts to steal votes in Georgia, allegedly, criminal indictment in New York, and also this civil trial going on accusing him of rape right now? What's it thinking about how he's still the early GOP leader?
Well, I mean, we haven't got so far, a close contender that has declared their intentions of running. Obviously, we have Nikki Haley that is running, but perhaps not to the right of President Trump, or not, leading what would be the successor of the MAGA movement. And obviously is the question if Ron DeSantis is going to run or not. So that has kept President Trump on top of the, voting change in the primary election.
Isn't it true, though, that a few years ago, someone who came in with that kind of baggage would be dead on arrival?
In the past, yes, but Trump has a very set of loyal supporters. And remember here, the goal, he doesn't need to win the election in November. He just needs to win the Republican primary. And he still has very strong support among Republican primary voters. And that's going to be a challenge for all other Republicans who actually want to win in November of 2024. Because if Trump is their nominee in 2024, the most likely scenario is he loses to Joe Biden. Whereas if it's somebody like Ron DeSantis, he has a much better prospect of defeating the president.
Even though right now, people who look at what's going on with the DeSantis pre-campaign would say, yeah, it's not going really well from what people see right now.
Well, I mean, Ron DeSantis has waited a lot of time. When he got his book out, there was the expectation that, within a couple of days he was going to announce his intentions, but he hasn't done so. So that has taken a lot of steam out of his political machinery, while President Trump has increased little by little that perhaps gap that, DeSantis was eating away slowly. So
we got a lot of time to think about it, and a lot of time for you guys to come back and talk about it. Would you accept my invitation to come back?
Oh, yes.
We have plenty.
Always.
So we can eat up the rest of the next 24 hours we're going to do. Okay. Thank you so much. Dr. Mark Jones, Jeronimo Cortina, thank you, as always.
Thank you.